Hey everyone, this is Chris, and I'm just doing a random surprise quick thoughts video. Because I don't know, I just am trying to repurpose some anxious energy, actually. So, what I want to do the quick thoughts video on, and I'll actually just try to look at the camera. This is weird. Most of the time I'm just holding this sucker. The quick thoughts video I'm doing is on this masterpiece in absurdity that I watched last week called Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon. Sorry, a tweet from Nathan just popped up and it grabbed my attention. Now we're gonna walk and talk, apparently. Yeah, so Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon is a kaiju film based on Japanese myth that I know nothing about, that came out in 1994. And if you want to picture what this dragon looks like, picture a non-winged dragon with 8 heads, and the heads look almost exactly like King Ghidorah's heads. Ghidorah, just because it's fun to say that way. And that sucker shows up at the end of the movie. Now, apparently, from what I've heard and chatted with people, if you know stuff about the myth and folklore that is involved in this, then you're gonna, like, your enjoyment will be different, because they work in like earthing. But I still really enjoyed it. Knowing nothing, because it's beyond absurd. Everything just flies at you, like, right off the bat. In the first 12 minutes alone, so much happens. Like, the hero is born, but this druid guy who ends up being evil is like, he's evil. The second twin is always evil. And then you cut to the guy dropping this baby off a cliff. And then this giant white bird from heaven that looks like a machine, not quite a Zord, but looks like a machine, shows up, and it's got this steampunk aesthetic. I'm like, I was texting Tom and Christian, aka Carpenter Arcade, and Monotone Waldo, that you can find both their streaming channels here on YouTube. I was texting both of them, and they're like, what on earth are you watching? I was like, I don't know, but I'm here for it. And then we cut to the kids, it jumps forward in time, and then the kid's walking through the woods, and some dude holds a sword to his neck, and a wizard shows up. It's feudal Japan, so my joke was, it's like Japanese Gandalf's here. And he waves his stick, and it glows green, and suddenly it ropes up the kid. And then the kid breaks into this cave. They're like, don't go in there, shady things happen. He's like, I won't. And sure enough, he goes back later that night, the little liar. And then he's talking to a rock god. There's a literal sword in his stone. And then we jump to him being an adult. And so he was banished from the kingdom. The whole time I had no idea that he was the emperor's son. I'm watching the Japanese original with English subtitles, and I didn't know. And then the queen's like, I want my son back. So they let him come back. And then when he was in the cave, he found a rock, and the rock glows or something, and he gives the rock to his mom. And then his mom dies, and then his brother's terribly upset. So him and his brother kind of face off. And then the druid kills him and makes it look like our hero did. It's like 15 minutes in. So much has happened. It's just like that. So fast paced, but so absurd and fun that I can't hate it. It's just, all right, I'm here for this. I'm here for this in spades. And it picks up and slows down. There's a love interest that apparently in the Japanese myth didn't exist because he was married. And and it's like he's on this quest, and he's got to get 3 lights: the rock, a mirror, and a sword. They're lights. Now, apparently, these are symbolic things that are still handed down to each incoming Japanese emperor. Emperor Riwa received them. So apparently they're not the originals. I know next to nothing about this. So don't at me if I'm giving the wrong information. Please correct me, and I will happily correct that. But it's just like, all right. And then they face off against some monsters. Now, there was a water monster that I don't remember at all. But they face off against a lava monster that turns his hands into friggin' like swords, but then later one hand becomes a bow and the other hand becomes the arrows, and he starts shooting at them. The love interest woman like dies twice. And eventually, so this whole time it takes place in like fantasy, feudal times. So you could say it's like sword and sandal genre. Like think Troy, think Lord of the Rings, think that kind of thing. But also during this time, there's an iceberg floating through space. It's something they show off the bat, but I'm like, wait, what? These don't sync up. But it works within the movie, and it turns out to be this is the bad god, who in the myth does not become Orochi, the villainous 8-headed dragon, but in this he does. So once they get the 3 lights, love interest and our hero are transported to the moon, and have a battle with the guy before he becomes the 8-headed dragon, and then they're on the Skybird, the steampunk Skybird, and friggin', it's hilarious. It's just so funny to me. Like it's entertaining, and the production values are there. Like it's not like it's cheap. Like the kaiju effects, especially with Orochi, are phenomenal because it's a dude in a suit, it's 8 heads, and of course there's going to be strings of movement, and there's active flamethrowers in the mouths. Because, well, 1, that's dangerous, but 2, it ends up being cheaper. And it does. It looks great. The puppetry and the movement is fantastic in this film. Apparently it was a planned trilogy. It was coming out, I think, at a similar time to the Mothra trilogy. That wasn't selling so well, so they're like, all right, we're just going to do it in one. And the final thing is like... our hero sent flying back off the moon into space where he can still breathe, and I haven't mentioned the lightsabers yet. Yeah, they got lightsabers. He's using a sword that occasionally like gets all encompassed in a green glow that looks like a certain farm boy's second weapon from Return of the Jedi, just without the sound effects. It's bonkers, but it was a lot of fun. And then he morphs into a giant, I want to say mech, because it's the idea of a giant knight, but it's also got golden wings. Like, it looks awesome. I'll see if I can attach a picture in this video. But it looks awesome. But the whole time I was like, y'all remember that show Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog? Because Power Rangers was such a hit, they started adapting other Sentai footage, and that's how you got VR Troopers and Big Bad Beetleborgs. And then they started spinning off and making their own tokusatsu shows that weren't very good. Ninja Turtles Next Mutation and Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog. And the whole time I was watching this, I was like, man, I would love to see Sentai adapt this, because it's a very, very Japanese story. I don't think it would be like American, like a North American production would do it justice. So since it's based on Japanese myth, and Sentai really incorporates all these themes and the dark stuff that you don't want neglected, I would love it. I would love like a 50-episode run, because Sentai is 50 episodes generally. Adapting this, but kind of like Mystic Knights, but good, because Power Rangers is still good. there's still, to a degree, a charm in VR Troopers and Beetleborgs. There is not in Mystic Knights. I'm sorry to say, I wanted to enjoy it, and I think this story would be the right kind of one to adapt it from, because then also you get more of Japanese Gandalf and the other dude who turns out to be a friend, even though he like put a sword to the throat of the kid, and the love interest who's also magical. Like, it would be this great final battle. Like, Orochi's the head honcho, the boss, and everything. Like, you could do this story, and I'd love it. The whole time I was like, man, this would be great as a Sentai season. So, yeah, look up Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon. Like I said, it is insanely absurd, but that's where the fun is. And there was a heart to this movie, like you could tell. Like, the people making it wanted to make it. I'm not gonna say it's amazing, because it's not. But it is so much fun. Like, that's the thing. You're not watching this movie for highbrow art or intense commentary that you get from like the Gamera Heisei trilogy or the friggin' Gojira or GMK or Shin Godzilla or Godzilla, like The Return of Godzilla, the 1984 flick, or even comments on consumerism and obsession with ratings and all that kind of thing, even from something like the original Japanese version of King Kong versus Godzilla, which was purely a comedy, but it did have some deep meaning in it that we lost in the cut released in North America, and that's why 90% of the time, 99% of the time, I'm like, look, if you're gonna watch a Godzilla movie, watch the Japanese original. One exception being Godzilla 2000. Even Toho from Tokyo is like, nah, that one's better. Yeah, it's interesting, those things that happen, but you can find this on the Internet Archive, so it is up for free, and just enjoy the absurdity, because it is a ridiculous fun time. If you're expecting highbrow art or entertainment, don't. But if you just want to go in with an open mind and have fun at this ridiculously breakneck paced, hard to follow, like jumping around story, it's a good one for you. All right. It's been fun doing these videos. I might start doing these again, as I've lessened on doing the writing. So I was writing for, I wrote for Faith and Fandom last year, and then I was writing for another devotional, and then I started on my own. So all my energy in writing was going towards that. And I haven't been shy about sharing. Like, I've been battling anxiety and depression, so like motivation to write it's dead. Especially when right now, most of the time what I'm writing is resumes and cover letters and for jobs that I'm not getting, and that's fun. I wasn't intending to get real. But this is a fun side thing, because you can whip these videos together really rather quickly. Like, I'm not a huge YouTube person or personality or anything like that. I don't have the resources, so it's legit just me talking into my phone and using iMovie to toss in some pictures. So all that being said, that's what we're gonna do. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon. I hope you enjoyed this surprise video, and hope you're having a great week. Keep me in your prayers, keep us in your prayers, keep everyone in your prayers. A lot of crap is going down, and it's chaos. All that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care, and God bless, my friends. Peace!